2021. I'm stuck in my room. I'm doing these selfie videos. I don't know where I want to go or where I want to take this thing, but I know that I had struggled with learning disability in school. So what do? I skip out on lunch one day from my job that I had just got and just worked so hard for my internship to turn into a career. What do? I leave my office at lunch, big no-no, and I bump into this producer, Carl Michelle. And he's like, hey, I'm the owner of Royal Production Studios. And I'm like, great. I want to do big things. I want a podcast. I want to be on stages. I want to be this leader like Tony Robbins. And he's like, okay, well, what's your backstory? And I told him my backstory, adopted, misdiagnosed, working in this tech firm right now. And he's like, what do you have to bring to me? And I was like, I got no guess. I've never done anything like this. And he goes, okay, we'll set up a call later. Can I give you a tour of the production studio? I'm like, kind of on work, but I guess so. Let's do the tour. That producer would go ahead and he signed me to Royal Production Studios as a 10-episode contract production studio. I've got a whole crew, studio, podcast, all platforms. I think, oh my God, Mom, I made it. I'm signed to a production studio. We put that first podcast up, 5 views. Oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Put that second one up, 10 views. I am stalking this man every day. Like, how can I get to that level? How can I do this? How can I do that? He posts this thing and it's like, hey, I'm speaking at this conference, Map Your Way to Financial Freedom. And I was like, what is the conference? I look into a conference and I get stuck. We all get stuck in that Instagram reel. And the reel is that move you're scared to make is the one that will change your life. And then I watched another video about Jesse Itzler talking about how he forced himself into a room and it changed his life. So I text Carl, already up his butt about podcasts. I'm an annoying kid. I'm calling and texting this guy and his whole crew, trying to set up meetings, make things work. And I'm like, let me work for you at that event. Let me just sit in. I'll do anything. I'll film, I'll shake hands, I'll sign things, I'll take pictures. Let me go to that event. He's like, great, it's Saturday. And I'm like, Saturday? Dude, it's a day to relax. Like, why is it a Saturday? I'm like, oh, and you gotta buy a ticket. I'm like, I gotta buy a ticket, work for you, and it's a Saturday? And then I go home and I'm like, okay, I'll get back to you. I find another Instagram reel. What are you willing to do and how bad do you want it? What are you willing to do and how bad do you want it? I call him up. I go, what's your Venmo? I'm sending you the money now. I'll be there. I find this kid in the gym that night. His name was Logan. I go, hey, you got a blazer? He's like, no. I go, I got an extra one. You're going to be my assistant. We're going to this event. We're going to this event. I sit down. I go, let's sit in the back. Don't say a word. If anybody asks, you're Dylan's assistant. I'm 19. If anybody asks, you're my assistant. The event goes on. A bunch of big people. Christian Perry, a coach of the Mets, and all these big people were here. Matt Buchanan was there. And it's like, they end the event. This guy named Brandon Godoris comes right up to me and he's like, hey, what do you think of the event? I was like, oh, it was great. He's like, you should meet everybody in this room. It'll change your life. I'm like, okay, I'll shake hands. I'll do this. I'll take these pictures. Let's do it. And then it ends and it's like, hey, you should come to Miami with us. I got a group of us. We're going to this conference. Floyd Mayweather's going to be there and we're going to make it happen. And it will pay you back. No problem. And I'm like, well, I kind of don't have money now because I bought a ticket to your conference. I see the price. It was like $800. I'm 19. I don't have that money. I look at those videos again. That move you're scared to make is the one that will change your life. I look at my mom. I go, Mom, I need a credit card. I want to start building credit. She's like, what do you need a credit card for? You're 19. I go, I need to start building credit. And I was told it's a good thing to do. Absolute lie. I'm like, no, I'm going to Miami. I get that credit card. I call Brandon. I do the whole payment on a credit card. And then I realize the thing's got a $1,500 limit. I need a plane ticket still. So, overtime at work. Enough just to get that $800 down to $400 so I could put a plane ticket on top, max the card out. Maxed it out. Declined. And my mom's like, I'm like, hey, took off from work. I'm going to Miami. She's like, what? You're going to Miami? What? You're 19. How? When? With who? I go, I met these guys at this conference, and they told me this conference would change my life. And the ticket wasn't that bad, Mom. She's like, how much was it? Like, it was $800, but trust me, it's going to work out. And she's like, $800? And she's like, are you joining a cult? I'm like, no, trust me. And she's like, who are you going with? Who are you staying with? I go, I got nowhere to stay, but I got the plane ticket, so I have to go. I get there, I call Carl and Michelle. Hey man, I landed in Miami. I forgot the hotel part. It's okay, cool. My production crew is here. We got a room. You can go in and stay with them. I go in there, 7 guys, 2 beds. And they're like, where are you going to sleep? And then Carl comes in and he doesn't have a room. So now we're 10 guys, 2 beds, Miami, maxed out credit card. And I'm like, I'm 110 pounds. That shelf under the TV, we got a pillow. I lay down on that shelf on the TV, didn't sleep. I did not sleep 5 minutes the whole night. I couldn't, I was on a shelf. And I remember waking up and my mission was, if I don't make this work or I miss my flight, I'm not going home. So I went into that. I was up all night. I know, because one of Carl's production crew was like, dude, put some headphones on, because I'm watching all these motivational clips in the middle of the night. And I go in like, everybody's going to know who the hell I am. I don't care if it kills me. I remember when he goes, Dylan, why are you here? And I go, I'm here for a bigger vision, but I don't know what it is yet. But I want to make sure everybody knows who I am. So when the vision is built, they'll know that I'm the guy who created it. I'm shaking hands with Floyd Mayweather. I had these metal cards made, spent money on that I didn't have as well. And when I leave, I fly home, and I have no idea what just happened. But I get off the plane, my mom picks me up, and she looks at me, and she goes, why's your brother telling me you met Mayweather? And I go, because I did. And she goes, what are you going to do with it? I go, I'm going to have him on my podcast. Never happened. Yet. But from there, I developed a relationship with Carl and Brandon, which it allowed me to do conferences, to connect with people, to meet actual celebrities. I've walked real red carpets. I've sold out events. And now I remember Brandon when he said, hey, I want to mentor you. I said, let's do it. He goes, what's your goal? I said, I want to speak at my home school that I graduated from last year. Last year I graduated. I want to speak there. And he goes, how are we going to do it? And he goes, how about you send an email? Find out who you need to get in contact with. Send the email, call the person. I sent an email to this school and DM'd every teacher. Found them on Facebook. I DM'd every teacher. I emailed the school district once a week for 3.5 years. While doing the conferences with Brandon, while doing the podcast with Carl, while working full time, while traveling, while doing speaker schools, trying to figure out how to do this. We do A to B. A to B changed my life forever. I can't even explain how that changed my life. Next thing you know, 2 months later, I get an email back from my school. I thought it was like fake. I thought it was like, oh, this is not a real email. Hey, Dylan, we'd love for you to come speak. What's your fee? I'm like, a fee? I'm like, you're paying. I was like, $2,000. Like, how about we bring you down to 1,200? I was like, 1,200 done. So I get to the school and they're like, what do you need? I go, I just need a projector. I'll bring my laptop. I'll just plug the laptop in. I plug it in. It's up there. I sit down. They give some awards to teachers. It's the whole district staff. It's 480 people in my home auditorium. Biggest moment of my life. I'm like, sweet. I'm sitting front row like, it's my moment to shine, baby. It's all worth it. They announce me. She hands me the mic. I look at the crowd. I'm like, that's huge. Okay, let's do this. I look up. Screen turned off. Oh, shoot. The guy comes up. He's like, yo, the bulb died in the projector. You're on. Oh. That's crazy. Biggest moment of my career. I go, that's cool. I had repped this thing out for 2.5 weeks and I did 3 speaker schools. I got this. And I lived my story that I'm about to tell. I give that story in a 38-minute keynote. When it's done, I go to walk off stage. I don't want to see the crowd out of my subconscious. I'm like, I probably bombed. I'm not looking. I hear applause. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see one person stand. I'm like, oh, he's leaving. And then I kind of look, see another person stand. And then I scan across the right side. Everybody's on their feet. And I scan across the whole 480-person auditorium. Everybody is on their feet. Everybody is clapping like this. They are whistling and screaming that we love you. Wow. At the biggest moment. One time I almost cried on stage and I told Brandon, I think my other mentor, Craig Siegel, I was going to cry, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that. And they told me, do it, lean in. So obviously emotions. I lean into it. I look down. I bend over. I literally start crying. I walk across the stage, and I just enjoy it. And at that moment, I knew that investment to go Miami was all worth it. Thank you guys so much. I'm Dylan Smith. Oh, thank you.